How did Confederate engineers build Civil War ironclads? Imagine a time when ships were made of wood and sails, then suddenly, a new kind of warship appears that can resist cannonballs and fire back with heavy guns. That's what happened during the American Civil War with the rise of ironclad ships. Now, how did Confederate engineers manage to build these armored vessels with limited resources? Let's find out. First, they often took existing wooden ships and turned them into ironclads. For example, the famous CSS Virginia started as a wooden frigate called the USS Merrimack. They stripped the ship down and reinforced its hull with thick layers of oak timber, which was strong and available locally. This internal framing was essential because it supported the heavy iron plates and kept the ship from falling apart under the weight. The next step was adding the iron armor itself. Confederate engineers used wrought iron plates, which they rolled at facilities like the Tredegar Iron Works in Virginia. These plates could be several inches thick, sometimes up to 4 inches, to withstand enemy fire. They cut these plates into large sections and bolted them onto the ship's wooden hull using big bolts that went through both the iron and the timber. This method made sure the armor stayed firmly attached during battle. Supporting the armor and the ship's structure were heavy timber frames inside, called knees and rafters. These helped distribute the weight of the iron plates and absorbed impacts from enemy shells. The decks were built with thick pine or oak planks, supported by transverse and longitudinal beams, to handle the weight of the guns and the stresses of combat. Powering these ships was another challenge. Confederate engineers installed steam engines, which were a newer technology at the time. These engines replaced sails, giving the ships better maneuverability regardless of wind conditions. The engines were connected to paddle wheels or screw propellers, allowing the ships to move quickly and stay flexible in battle. Most Confederate ironclads were casemate types, meaning their guns were housed inside armored enclosures rather than in rotating turrets. This design was simpler and used fewer resources, which was important given the shortages during the war. The guns fired through openings in the armor, and the casemate protected the crew and vital parts of the ship. Building these ships was not easy. The Confederacy had limited industrial capacity, shortages of iron and machinery, and had to work fast. Despite these hurdles, they managed to produce over 20 ironclads by the end of the war. These ships played key roles in defending rivers and coastlines, especially during battles like the Battle of Hampton Roads. So, Confederate engineers combined traditional shipbuilding with innovative use of iron and steam power. They reinforced wooden hulls with iron plates, bolted everything together tightly, and powered their ships with steam engines. This mix of old and new technology changed naval warfare forever and made the Civil War a turning point in maritime history.